This video will show you how to replace your front brake flex hose on this Toyota Corolla. This will be located behind your front wheel. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. The first thing we have to do is safely raise and support the front of the vehicle so the front wheel's off the ground. After you've done that, we're going to remove all 5 of our 21mm lug nuts and then the wheel. Let's start by making our way to the bleeder screw attached to the caliper. If you have any sort of cover, just go ahead and remove that. These come in all different shapes and sizes. This one I'm just going to go ahead and pull right off of here. We'll set that aside. The bleeder screw on my application is an 8mm, so I'm going to be using that. We'll be turning this counterclockwise. We have a collection receptacle under this area so we can collect and recycle any fluid as necessary. Make sure you can see a trickle of fluid coming out of here. If you can't, there might be an issue. This looks good. I'm going to gently close this off temporarily. Now at this point, what we're going to have to do is have our collection receptacle under here. We're going to reopen this bleeder screw, but we also want to make our way into the passenger compartment with a pry bar or a rod of some sort. We have to press the brake pedal all the way down to the floor as far as possible and hold it there with something such as that pry bar. You can do this pressing it up against the seat if necessary. Let's make sure we open this. Now that we have that bar in place, let's go ahead and close this. It only needs to be snug. Just clean any mess in this area. After completing that, we're looking along the back side of the caliper at our banjo bolt. This is holding the flex hose to the caliper. We'll start removing that. Go ahead and loosen it, and then lightly snug it by hand. We're following the flex hose up. You can see just behind the front strut, a 14mm mounting bolt holding this in place. We can remove that. Follow the flex hose in and behind the front strut and sway bar link up to its next mounting point, where it connects to your brake line. Now up here, we can see where our brake line goes into the flex hose. We're going to start separating the brake line fitting from the flex hose. When you use your 10mm to start turning this, you may find it stuck in the flex hose. If that's the case, rather than twisting it and potentially damaging the bracket, you can hold this with some locking pliers if necessary. It is a good idea to use some penetrant in this area. Now that I have it broken free, I'm just going to go to an open end wrench. A little quicker for me here. Now as you're loosening this, you're going to find that it only goes up so far. You're going to keep on turning, but nothing really happens. That's due to the fact that once you do have it fully loosened, there's still pressure from the brake line leading down, and of course there's pressure from under here from the bracket. Let's remove our locking clip and we should be able to pull down on the flex hose. Just going to try to grab onto the ear with some pliers here. We'll give this a little shake, breaking it free, and remove it. Give that a quick inspection. Make sure it's still reusable, not rotted and weak. If it is, you need to replace it. We're going to give it a wiggle, pull it down. A quick inspection of the brake line, and now we can follow this all the way down to the caliper for our final removal. As you start removing this, you're going to find that fluid that was in the hose is going to make its way into your collection receptacle. Go. There's our banjo bolt, a quick inspection of that. Remove the flex hose. There it is, friend. Prior to installation of the brand new flex hose, let's take a look at a couple things. First of all, your banjo bolt. Make sure that you don't have any pre-existing gaskets on that bolt. Your flex hose comes with brand new gaskets. Aside from that, you just want to make sure it's not rotted or weak in any way. This looks fine. The next thing we're going to do is have a look along the back side of the caliper at the mounting point. We'll just give that a quick wipe. We're not using any type of detergent here, which could make its way into the braking system. After that, we're up along the strut next. We have where the mounting bolt went through. Just a quick inspection here. That looks good as well. And lastly, we've already inspected this, but your brake line is just as important. Confirm that that's still in good usable order. Okay, now we can prepare to install that brand new front brake flex hose. Now we need to make sure that we have the upper portion in the proper orientation. This is going to be important because we do have that bracket in the center, which is going to go in and behind that front strut. When it is in place, the bracket needs to be faced in this direction, so the bolt will be down along the bottom. So with that said, imagine this is behind the front strut and it comes all the way up like this. This would be the positioning that we want to have it in. We can see this white stripe facing forward. Start bringing this into position. We have our white stripe facing forward, as I mentioned. We're going to align it with our brake line. Start pressing the two together. If you can turn this by hand, you want to start it in by hand. Whatever you do, make sure you do not cross thread it into the wrong positioning. Now that I have that started in, we're just going to take our brake hose and bring it along the back side of that front strut there. We want to try to make sure that it will fit properly and the hose will not be twisted in any way during the rest of the installation process. Assuming that does line up as it should, we'll continue back up at that brake line. For the brake line, we need to go ahead and twist this as necessary. We're pressing it up until we can see a small groove for our locking clip to go into. If you have a hard time turning this by hand, you can use some pliers. Just don't do it on the rubber area here. Okay, I'm holding this up. Let's get our clip in there. Just going to line it up. Double check to make sure that does look seated, and we'll tap this in with a hammer. Finish tightening your brake line. Now right there bottomed out with my open end wrench. I'm going to use my flare wrench and just make sure it's nice and tight. Clean the mess in this area. Now in the center area here, close to our front strut, we're going to start with our ABS wire bracket first. Just go ahead and slide that into the proper position. Try to align your mounting bolt port. After you've done that, it's time for the flex hose. We'll just slide it right on over the top, align the mounting bolt port, and start it in. I've cleaned the threads on my mounting bolt. For this, we don't need to use any type of thread locker. Once it's started in, go ahead and snug it up. Make sure it's secured in place. Before going any further, confirm that the flex hose has not been twisted up along the top area between this bracket and that brake line. Now down where the flex hose is going to connect to the caliper, we have to prepare our banjo bolt first. So for that, I'm taking one of my brand new gaskets. We're never using an old gasket. Slide that directly onto the bolt. Now we're going to be taking the bolt and sliding it through our brake flex hose. We can see it protruding through, and we have this small ear here. This is an alignment ear. If you are looking at the back side of the caliper, you're going to find two ports. One's threaded and one's just a circular port. The threaded port is for the banjo bolt. Now on the other side of the flex hose, we're installing our next brand new gasket. Now we have one on each side. Let's get this in place along the back side of the caliper. Once everything's aligned, go ahead and start it in by hand. I'm going to be torquing this to 25 foot-pounds. Now the next thing we want to do is remove our pressure from on that brake pedal. You can remove your bar. Now we're back at our bleeder screw. Use your 8mm wrench. We can open this up, and we're going to wait for a steady trickle of fluid making its way out of this area. This may take a moment. Now at this point, I typically like to flex my flex hose around and tap on my caliper. A little bit of vibration can help remove any air bubbles from in the system. Okay, we have a steady trickle of fluid coming out of here. I didn't see any more air bubbles. Let's go ahead and slowly close off that bleeder screw. We just want to take it till it bottoms out and a tiny bit further. Okay friend, now the next thing we need to do is hop in the passenger compartment and attempt to pump up the brake pedal. We need it to be firm. If it feels like it's soft and squishy in any way, there could still be air trapped in the system, and if that's the case, you need to bleed your brakes. Assuming you are sure that there's no air in the system, go ahead and clean your mess and reinstall your bleeder screw cover. We're looking for the master cylinder along the driver's side of the engine compartment. Let's gain access to the cap. For that, you can remove your seal up along the top here. We'll just go ahead and pull that in one direction or the other. It has several locking clips. We don't need to go too far here. That exposes our protective panel. It has two locking tabs. Squeeze them in and pull this up and out of place. Clean along the top of the master cylinder so you're sure that nothing will fall inside of it. You even need to pay attention up along this plastic cowl. After you've cleaned that area, we're going to remove our brake master cap. We've got our brand new clean .3 brake fluid. Go ahead and top off that master cylinder. We'll reinstall the cap. Once you're sure it's topped off, reinstall your cover, clean any mess. We can install our cover on this area. Listen for an audible click. Reinstall your protective seal. You can see all of our small hooks here. Looking along the bottom of the seal, there's circular ports. Just go ahead and stretch it as necessary to slide it into position. Let's get our wheel in place. Now at this point, we're going to start on all 5 of our 21mm lug nuts. We'll bottom them out, get the wheel safely on the ground, and we can torque these to 76 foot-pounds. With the wheel back on the ground, let's torque each one of our 21mm lug nuts to 76 foot-pounds. Torqued. Okay friend, we finished our installation. The last thing we want to do is check for leaks and take the vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching. The first thing we want to mention is you want to have several pints of clean .3 or .4 brake fluid and some parts cleaner. Now the first thing we want to do is make sure that all the bleeder screws on each one of our brakes opens as it should. Otherwise, you might have to replace another braking component. After inspecting all those, we need to make our way back under the hood. We're looking for the master cylinder along the driver's side of the engine compartment. Let's gain access to the cap. For that, you can remove your seal up along the top here. We'll just go ahead and pull that in one direction or the other. It has several locking clips. We don't need to go too far here. That exposes our protective panel. It has two locking tabs. Squeeze them in and pull this up and out of place. Clean along the top of the master cylinder so you're sure that nothing will fall inside of it. You even need to pay attention up along this plastic cowl. After you've cleaned that area, we're going to remove our brake master cap. With that out of place, inside of the master cylinder, you're going to find that you have a small screen. We're going to want to remove that. For this, I'm just using an angled pick. We'll see if we can work it out of position. Let's see if we can pull that up and out of there. Set that aside. The next thing we need is a fluid extractor and a collection receptacle for all that fluid. Let's remove as much fluid as possible from inside the master cylinder. Now that we've removed as much fluid as possible from inside that master cylinder, we can reinstall our screen in this area. Just press it in there as far as possible. We've got our brand new clean .3 brake fluid. Go ahead and top off that master cylinder. We'll reinstall the cap. Now that we have the master topped off with brand new brake fluid, we made our way to the right rear brakes, or passenger side rear. We're going to start the bleeding sequence here. Now for the bleeding sequence, we're going to start at the passenger side rear, and then we're going to move to the driver's side front, diagonally. After we've bled that brake, we have to make our way up to the master cylinder, and we're going to check and top off that fluid. Once we've completed that, we're going to the driver's side rear, and then to the passenger side front. Once we've completed those two brakes, we're back up at the master cylinder. Now you can do this with a hose, you can use a small pan if necessary, whatever's best for you. This is going to be easiest if you have a second person to bleed the brakes. The person inside the vehicle is going to pump up the brake pedal till it feels nice and firm, approximately 3 to 5 times. They're going to hold it and let me know. While they're holding it, I'm going to open up the bleeder screw and fluid will come out of the bleeder screw. Once the fluid stops, I'm going to close the bleeder screw and I'm going to ask them to pump again. After it's firm, we're going to repeat this process several times until we know that we have only clean brake fluid making its way out of the system. Go ahead and pump up the brake pedal, please. I've got my hose on here. You should be able to see some fluid make its way out. Go ahead and pump. Go ahead and pump. You can release. Now at this point, I saw several times that I had only clean brake fluid making its way out of the system. Obviously, you want to continue this process until you've confirmed the same. Assuming you have, go ahead and remove your apparatus and clean up the mess in this area. Now as for the left front brakes, for the bleeder screw, we're going to be using an 8mm. We have our collection receptacles here so we can collect and recycle that fluid. We'll get this all in place. Go ahead and pump up the brakes, please. Go ahead and pump. That's looking good. Go ahead and pump. All right, just one more time here. This is looking good. Now, just like before, repeat this process as many times as necessary to confirm that you have only clean brake fluid making its way out and definitely no air. After you've completed that, go ahead and clean up your mess, reinstall your bleeder screw cover. We're making our way up to the master cylinder next. All the brakes have been bled. Remove your master cylinder cap, and we can continue on topping off that fluid all the way up to the maximum line. Once you're sure it's topped off, reinstall your cover, clean any mess. We can install our cover on this area. Listen for an audible click. Reinstall your protective seal. You can see all of our small hooks here. Looking along the bottom of the seal, there's circular ports. Just go ahead and stretch it as necessary to slide it into position. Okay, friend, we finished bleeding our brakes. The torque for all of the wheels will be 76 foot-pounds. After you've completed that, you want to make sure that you pump up your brake pedal till it's firm and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.